You've felt it before. That shiver that snakes down your spine when someone's words pierce the quiet of your mind, leaving a subtle, unshakable echo. It's rare, almost forbidden, the way language can become a weapon, a caress, a secret doorway into the deepest corners of desire. Tonight, I want to show you something most men never understand. Something so potent that the moment you say it, the world shifts. A phrase, a whisper, a confession that awakens something ancient inside her. Something she didn't even know she was hiding. Imagine it now. You standing across from her, the soft glow of the room catching the curve of her cheek, her eyes betraying curiosity and a flicker of longing, and you say the words that unlock a hidden part of her soul. The room seems to tighten, the air itself thickens, and suddenly, she leans in a fraction closer, almost instinctively, as if drawn by gravity she didn't realize was there. This is psychology of desire. And this channel exists to pull back the veil on human attraction, the dark edges of connection that most people fear to explore. If you want to understand the language of subtle power and irresistible influence, you belong here. Subscribe, and let's walk into this shadow together. Here's the thing. Most men speak too much. They fill silence with noise, with jokes, with empty assurances that she can feel are built on rehearsed scripts. But you, sitting there, breathing with intention, holding space like a room that is just hers to enter, your silence alone becomes magnetic. She senses it before she understands it. And then you speak, and it's not loud, it's not desperate, it's deliberate. Those words I'm talking about, they aren't compliments, they aren't flattery. They are a subtle confession that acknowledges her without swallowing her, that honors her presence without demanding it. The kind of words that slip past the logical mind and whisper directly to the limbic system, stirring curiosity, warmth, and an almost unbearable desire to lean in. Picture this. She's standing in the kitchen, the mundane hum of the evening wrapping around her, yet your voice cuts through. I notice you more than anyone else ever does. It's simple, almost painfully so, but the effect is profound. Her heartbeat falters because for once, she feels seen. Not for her image, not for the role she plays, but for the essence of her subtle movements, her quiet power, the rhythm of her presence that often goes unnoticed. You don't just speak. You mirror a part of her soul she keeps hidden even from herself. You make the invisible visible, and in doing so, you create a pull she can neither resist nor name. And here's the dark truth few admit. Attraction is as much about psychological resonance as it is about looks or charm. Women are wired to respond to the depth behind words, to the confidence in stillness, to the acknowledgement that there is a mind across from them that sees beyond surface illusions. Most men never touch this layer. They chatter, they entertain, they try to impress. But you are going to learn to reach deeper, to speak in a way that reverberates through her subconscious. The power of your words becomes a kind of magnetic gravity, drawing her closer, inviting her to step into a space where she feels understood, desired, and secretly vulnerable all at once. Tonight, we're going to start dismantling the rules she's learned, the walls she's built, and the self-protection mechanisms she doesn't even realize are in place. And when you finally speak the right words in the right way, the effect is subtle but undeniable. A glance lingers, a shoulder relaxes, and somewhere in her mind, she knows she's encountering a presence unlike any other, one that makes her heart hesitate, one that awakens a strange, thrilling certainty. You feel it in the pause before the words leave your lips, the space where intention lingers, where meaning condenses into something almost sacred. This is where most men fail. They rush. They try to impress with force or humor, unaware that the real power is in subtlety, in the quiet that precedes a confession. And then, you speak. Not with arrogance, not with desperation, but with deliberate presence. I feel it when you're near, like nothing else matters. Watch her reaction. It isn't instant fireworks or overt signals, it's subtler. Her breath hitches almost imperceptibly, Her eyes darken with curiosity, her lips part for a fraction too long. She isn't just hearing the words. She is being acknowledged in a way the world rarely allows. And in that moment, a silent understanding forms between you, a psychological thread that ties her attention to you without any coercion. You have not demanded her interest. You have merely mirrored the part of her that longs to be seen, that craves the quiet intensity of someone who understands without needing explanations. It's a dangerous kind of intimacy, one that can consume attention and create obsession without touching her physically. Women, whether they admit it or not, are instinctively drawn to men who see them deeply. Not superficially, not for their smile or body, but for the contours of their mind, the hidden tremors of their emotions, the unspoken tension between what they show the world and what they feel. And that is exactly what these words do. They map the invisible geography of her desire, pointing to places she has barely admitted even to herself. Now imagine it in a crowded room, the world bustling around her, yet your voice slices through like a knife wrapped in silk. I notice the way you carry yourself, even when no one else does. It's disarming. She feels exposed, yet not violated, seen, yet safe. That is the paradox of dark psychological attraction. It is subtle, it is invisible, it does not demand. It whispers, and whispers, when spoken with precision, have the power to linger longer than anything shouted. You may feel a twinge of doubt, wondering if this works in reality, if it's manipulative, if it's too risky. But understand this, these words are not tricks. They are truths framed in a way that resonates with her primal psychology. Every human longs to be recognized beyond the surface, to be acknowledged for what is hidden beneath the mask. When you speak like this, you tap into a deep hunger she has learned to suppress. And the thrill of being recognized, truly recognized, creates a pull so strong that resistance becomes almost impossible. The effect is cumulative. Each word, each pause, each deliberate glance compounds. She becomes attuned to your presence, her mind replaying your phrasing, the weight behind your tone. She begins to anticipate it, to crave it, to look for it in every interaction. This is not casual flirtation. This is psychological resonance. This is influence. And once you master it, you enter a space where her attention, her intrigue, and yes, even her desire, are no longer fleeting. They are anchored. Tomorrow, when she remembers your words, she will not recall the words themselves so much as the sensation they created, the quiet intoxication of being seen, the subtle thrill of having someone understand her where no one else has. That is the art, the dark poetry, the hidden psychology behind what most men will never learn. Now imagine the next step. You've spoken the words, you've created the pull, and you can feel the subtle shift in the room. The air heavier, her focus tethered to you like an invisible string. This is where most men falter. They assume the power lies only in the words themselves. But the truth, the hidden psychology, is in the delivery, in the space around them, in the moments that follow when you do almost nothing. Let her linger in the silence you create. Do not rush to fill it. Watch her. Notice the micro-expressions, the slight tilt of her head, the way her gaze flickers between curiosity and intrigue, the barely audible catch in her breath. Every detail is a signal, a map to her subconscious. And in that silence, the words you spoke echo louder than anything else. She may not respond immediately. She may even pretend not to notice. But inside, the gears are turning, spinning around your presence, around the understanding you've granted her, around the unspoken acknowledgement that she is seen, truly seen. And here is the secret most men never learn. Desire is not created with actions alone. It is cultivated with perception, with emotional resonance. When you speak these words, you are planting a seed, one that germinates in the quiet chambers of her mind. She will replay them, imagine the meaning behind them, feel the sensation of being recognized, and slowly, without conscious permission, she begins to crave more of it, from you. This is the power of language when wielded with subtle mastery. It is intimate, invisible, intoxicating. Consider a scenario. You're walking together, a casual touch on her hand, a glance that lingers. Yet it is not the touch, not the glance that grips her. It is the memory of your words, the weight behind them, the knowledge that someone understands her more than anyone else has. The ordinary becomes charged with tension. The mundane turns into a stage where psychological intimacy plays out silently, powerfully, irreversibly. And the deeper you understand this, the more you realize that attraction is less about effort, more about presence, less about flattery, more about resonance, less about performing, more about reflecting the truth she longs to see. The real danger of these words lies not in manipulation. They are not hollow or calculated. They lie in their authenticity. When spoken with awareness, with presence, they bypass logic and reason, penetrating straight to the part of her mind that craves recognition, understanding, and quiet devotion. She feels compelled, drawn toward you, not because she must, but because she wants to. Because you have created a psychological alignment that few men can even imagine. And here is the most intoxicating part. She begins to anticipate it. The phrase, the tone, the way you see her, all of it becomes something she waits for, something she craves, a subtle pull she cannot resist. You have become a presence she associates with understanding, attention, and desire. And in that space, resistance fades, curiosity deepens, desire awakens. The mastery lies not in speaking louder or bolder, it lies in precision, subtlety, and the weight of understanding carried in every word. Speak them correctly, and you will discover a power that is quiet, relentless, and unforgettable. Now we enter the hidden layer, the part most men will never see, the triggers behind the words, the subtle architecture of desire that lies beneath what you say. These words are not magic, they are mirrors. They reflect the parts of her she hides, the whispers of her longing she cannot speak, the fractures in her self-perception that crave acknowledgement. When you speak them correctly, you are not inventing attraction. You are revealing it, amplifying it, giving it permission to breathe. Picture her mind as a dimly lit room filled with memories, fears, and unspoken desires. Most men stumble through it, knocking over furniture, clumsily fumbling for attention. But you are deliberate. You step lightly, notice the corners others ignore, and whisper the truths that resonate with the deepest, most private parts of her psyche. I notice you in ways no one else does. These words activate recognition. She feels that someone is paying attention not to the surface, but to the layers beneath. And the limbic system, the ancient part of her brain that governs instinct and desire, lights up, a subtle fire awakening that she cannot control. It's not just what you say, but how you say it. The timing, the cadence, the weight behind each syllable. It creates a rhythm that her subconscious cannot resist. When delivered with quiet certainty, these words bypass rational thought. They become a signal. She is seen, she is understood, and that alone is intoxicating. Women are wired to respond to authenticity, to emotional depth, to the presence of someone who acknowledges them fully, without expectation, without demand. That is why these words work. They do not pressure, they invite. They do not claim, they reflect. Think of a real scenario. She's recounting her day, trivial details, mundane complaints. Most men nod, half listen, their minds elsewhere. But you lean in slightly, just enough, and you say, I feel how much this matters to you. Not flattery, not empty empathy, recognition, validation. You are mapping her interior world in a single sentence, and she feels it. An invisible chord strummed, a resonance she didn't know she could feel so sharply. This is the trigger. The part of her that craves emotional alignment responds instinctively. She leans in, her attention narrows, her desire intensifies, not for your body, not for a gesture, but for the presence that sees her fully. And here's the dark elegance of it. The words themselves are simple, almost mundane in isolation, but delivered with timing, awareness, and psychological precision, they become a lever that shifts the dynamic entirely. You are no longer just a man in her environment. You are a rare observer, a conscious participant in her inner life, and that is magnetic beyond measure. This is why most men fail. They chase superficial attraction, they overcomplicate, they overperform. But the mastery of desire lies in subtle reflection, in attuned awareness, in the power of recognition. Once you understand the triggers, once you deliver them correctly, you create an invisible gravitational pull. She cannot resist because she is not resisting you. She is drawn to the experience of being fully acknowledged, fully seen, fully desired. And now, you are standing on the edge, ready to step into this power. One word, one phrase, one deliberate pause at a time. You are about to learn the language that makes women feel the undeniable truth, that someone finally notices, that someone finally understands. This is the moment where everything aligns, the words, the timing, the presence you've cultivated. You've understood the psychology, the subtle triggers, the art of reflection. Now comes the delivery, and with it, the power. The words are deceptively simple, but their effect is profound when paired with the right tone, the right gaze, the right pause. Speak them slowly, deliberately, letting each syllable settle into the space between you. I notice you in ways no one else does. Watch her. Notice the flicker in her eyes, the tiny shift in posture, the almost imperceptible leaning in. Let the silence stretch for a heartbeat longer than feels comfortable. It will make her lean closer, involuntarily, drawn to the gravity you have created. Then, when the moment deepens, add subtle specificity. I notice the way you carry yourself, even when no one else does. These are not compliments. They are reflections, observations that tell her, you see the hidden parts of her, the essence she guards. The psychological effect is almost hypnotic. She feels recognized, understood, and desired all at once. This is why resistance fades. This is why curiosity deepens. This is why attraction becomes a magnetic pull that she cannot ignore. Remember, the key is authenticity. The moment she senses manipulation, the spell shatters. Speak with genuine presence. Watch, listen, respond to the cues her body gives. The subtle tilt of her head, the softening of her shoulders, the lingering eye contact, they are all signals. Follow them. Amplify them with your awareness. This is a dance, a psychological interplay that feels invisible, effortless, and intoxicating because it is rooted in truth. And here is the final layer: patience. Desire is not instant. It builds like a slow-burning fire, gathering intensity with each word, each glance, each acknowledgement. The women who respond most strongly are those who feel that someone sees them in a way no one else has. You have become that person. You are no longer just present. You are unforgettable. As the night folds around her, as she walks away with your words still echoing in her mind, she will replay the subtle confessions, the weight of your gaze, the calm power in your presence. And somewhere deep inside, she will know. Someone has seen her fully, and in that recognition lies the pull she cannot resist. This is psychology of desire. If you want to dive deeper into the hidden dynamics of attraction, to master the subtle psychology that makes women feel truly desired, then subscribe now and step into the shadows with us. Every word, every pause, every glance you master brings you closer to the kind of influence most men will never understand.